Why did? Oh, everybody's frozen. Okay, that's cute. Hi. Uh, hold on. Time out. Let's try this. Is it even on? Time out. Okay. Oh, we're live. Okay. Let's redo this again because everybody froze. So let's try this. Take two. Okay. So first we had a little mishap for the first take, but the second take we did okay. So I want to say welcome to my. I don't even know how many what episode this, but I will tell y'all when it comes out. So I would say welcome to an episode that's close to the finale episode. Now this is the start of a 3 episode special. Now the episode is called Man versus Women. Now you do what you want with that title, and I don't care. But this first episode really dives into the woman aspect of everything, and this is why it's called the intuition of a woman. Now, our next episode will be the intellect of a man, and then men versus women, where we combine those two people, those two groups from different episodes, and bind them together and start a conversation. Now, I want to say this is a targeting topic, but if you feel triggered, you might be the issue. Let's just put that out there. But that's besides the point if I say anything, right? Okay. So let's start with our introduction. Now, the first person, you know her from IDK, Dreamer versus Realist. We got Casey Wild. Hey, Casey.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Casey Wild, and I am 16.
Okay. So now we have a newcomer, but I promise you she won't be a newcomer anymore after this. Welcome, Mckenna.
Hi, I'm Mckenna, and I'm also 16. I'm super excited to be here.
All right. Now we have a familiar face again, Jennifer Tran.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Tran, and I'm 17.
Hey. All right, and then another familiar face, Addy Harris.
Hi, I'm Addy, and I'm 17. Just kidding. I'm 17.
16. Okay, so as we already know, I just want to put this out there for all my audience, my listeners, and my watchers, telling them that as from now on until the final episode, these beautiful guests and other people guests will not have questions to prepare themselves with. Whatever they thought of when I said this question is what's going to be said. And we'll see how everything goes. Hopefully this is not a mess. If it's a mess, then oh well, we'll keep going, right? Yes. All right, so the first question is the word female, right? I think we talked about it a little. So actually they do know the first question, but we talked about a little. Female has started to become a slur, a derogatory term. Why and how? Mckenna.
Okay, so I feel like in a sense, it depends on how you use it. Definitely, I would rather, if somebody was referring to me, I'd rather them say either my name, or if they're referring to me like not as me, a woman, instead of a female. I just feel like in a way, like I said, it depends on how you use it. So if you're gonna say like, yeah, that female is blah blah blah, it's kind of like that's kind of demeaning in a way, because it's like I'm more than just a female, I'm more than just a woman. Say my name and say who I am. So that's how I feel that.
Casey.
In my experience, I don't see female as a slur at all, honestly. I think that the only time that it can be like bad is I think nowadays you see a lot of times like on social media, guys will kind of use it almost as like an inside joke, like, oh, look at all the females, like what a female thing to do. And I think that's the only way that, like, I don't know, I feel like it's definitely has a different connotation now than just saying like girl or woman. It's like more of a kind of almost joking thing in some senses. So yeah.
Addy.
I agree with Casey. I don't necessarily think it's gotten to the point where it's like a slur, but it's definitely, I think like Mckenna said, it's definitely like degrading in the way that they use it. Like they use it in that kind of way, and it reduces women like down to just their reproductive organs, like female. Like that's the terms that doctors use, or like when you're getting a dog, like, oh, it's a female dog. Like it's like, I don't know. It's just and they use it in that way too, because dudes will be like, oh, females are always doing this, this, and that, and females are doing this. Like it's like, I don't know. It's just weird, and I don't know when that started becoming like a popular term to use, but it's just very strange to me, and I personally do not like it when guys are throwing that term around to refer to women. Like just say girls or women, or like if you tell them like, bro, don't say female, they'll be like, oh, what else am I supposed to say? Like, you have not been saying female your whole life. Like, you know what else to call girls or women, or like refer to them by their name. Like, it's just crazy. Yeah.
Addy. I'm sorry. Jennifer. My bad. Jennifer.
You're good. I completely agree with Addy, Casey, and McKenna. I don't think it's a slur, but it definitely makes me uncomfortable when like a man calls me like a female and not like a woman or a girl, because there's just like the tone that they use is degrading, and it doesn't make you feel good. Like yeah, and like what McKenna said, like we're more than just the word female. Like you really like you have to see, like sorry, I'm like stumbling all over the place. Like again, like we're more than just females, like we're women.
Right.
Get it right.
Okay. All right. So then my next question. Now here goes with the juicy stuff, because they don't know what this is. I'm just thinking. So the advantages of what a woman has is higher than the advantages of what a man has. Agree or disagree? Wait. I'm gonna give y'all an example. No. Like I'm not saying like I agree or disagree. I'm gonna give y'all an example. I'm gonna give you two. Now, one example is gonna go with the, I guess, agree side. The other one is gonna go with the disagree side. Then you tell me what you think. All right. So the agree side is more, I'll say, dirty, if that makes sense, more sense. So if a woman, right, sexually assaults a man, here we go, listen, because I'm actually sexually assaults a man, that the man can press charges, but the woman can also press charges and say that if the man pushes her, that he sexually assaulted her as well, or harassed her because of that. And then as from now, that no matter what has happened with a man, if they falsely accused or not, that their jobs will be diminished. They'll be fired, pay cuts, and they'll be looked at poorly, no matter if they did it or not. Here, now that was the agree side. The disagree side is a CEO woman and a CEO man work the same time, but the man makes a good, let's say I'm gonna go high, $1 million, right? Same work, but the woman makes 50K. Same years. That's the disagree side. Now, after those examples have been presented, what do y'all think? Addy.
I knew I had something to say. Let's start off with sexual assault is bad, whether no matter.
Oh yeah, no. Like it is. Yeah, I'm not saying it. It is. Yeah.
Now, is it a fact that I guess I won't even say get away with, but when I feel like there's just a lot of aspects to that first question. Like, if a man were to get sexually assaulted by a woman, I think number one, they're way less likely to try and reach out and get help about that because, you know, like men have this kind of masculinity thing when they feel like, you know, like, oh, I have to tell my bros that I feel like I got sexually assaulted by a girl. Like, what, you know? But also number two, they are a lot less likely to get sexually assaulted by a woman, but I'd say like they're more likely to get sexually assaulted by a man than a woman. But still, if that were to happen, also, yeah, I feel like it would be harder for people to believe a man saying, I mean, it's very hard for people to believe a woman saying that she got sexually assaulted, but I'd say it's also very hard for people to believe a man saying he got sexually assaulted by a woman. So, like, better? I don't know if that's
I
like,
was trying to make it seem like
I mean, like, in that situation, yeah, I don't know. In that situation, it's not better to be either kind of person because at the end of the day, you're getting sexually assaulted, which is terrible. So, like, I don't know. I don't know about that one, but when it comes to like the, gosh, what was the second example? Getting paid. There's obviously that inequality between men and women, and that's like been there for forever. And I think a lot of men don't agree with this statement, but it is much easier to be a man than to be a woman. At least I can speak in America, in this country. You know, I can't speak for all over the world, but in America, it is much easier to be a man than it is to be a woman. And I won't say it's like better than the other, but it's definitely easier, just based on their gender, you know? So like, and that's not really something that like I feel like can even be debated. I mean, I'm sure there'll be men like trying to say like all this stuff, but I think it comes down to like statistics and facts and like what you see in your life every single day or what you experience being a woman, like in your daily life. That kind of just supports that. So, yeah.
Jennifer.
I agree with what Addy said completely, especially with what she first talked about sexual assault. I think whether you're a man or a woman, you should be held accountable with your actions. And again, at the end of the day, it's sexual assault, so it's really hard to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with what Addy said, and also on the agree example that you had said, I agree with what Addy said. It's like you've seen a lot in like America how unfairly women are treated against men, equality wise. I mean, just like a few months ago, I was reading for like an assignment, and in that reading, it was talking about how like men are strong enough to do like the outside work while women had to stay inside to take care of like the homes and stuff. And then you also see it when you're younger, when like teachers are like, oh, I need a strong man to help me move these boxes over, and you're sitting there like, I can move those boxes too. So yeah, I think it, and I agree with Addy. I keep on saying that again. I agree with Addy when she said that being a man is easier in a lot of cases as well. Sorry if that. Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah. I get it. Okay. Casey.
Starting off on like the sexual assault topic, I think a big thing that I've heard with men saying they've been sexually assaulted or like coming out with that is a lot of guys say that it's like a lot harder for a man to like come out about it and like be believed and like get their justice. But at the same time, our entire like society and like the legal system in that sense was built by men, and like they formed their own kind of like masculinity that makes them more hesitant to like believe that that could happen to guys because they think that like it makes you weak if that happens to you, which of course isn't the case. But I think that like the same people who are preaching that like it's so much harder for a man to come out about it are the same ones who would judge a man if they came out about it in a lot of cases. And when it comes to the like pay difference and the pay gap, I think it's like a lot easier to see kind of the struggles with like being a woman versus a man if you look at like the steps that it takes to reach a position rather than like the actual difference in pay and like recognition at the top, because I feel like the main challenges come from actually like moving up and like getting recognition for the smaller things that allows you to like reach a top position, because I think it's really hard and like when you're starting out in a lot of career like choices to be seen as like taking it seriously if you're a woman, rather than like a man won't be like questioned for any of like those early decisions. So
Okay, McKenna.
So I definitely agree with everyone. And I feel like in society, there's like this hierarchy. So I feel like men are at the top of the hierarchy. I'm not going to say I'm going against men or anything, but in the sense of saying like women have more of an advantage in society, I would say I disagree with that. Because like you said before, when it comes to pay and things like that, women can work as hard as men or even harder in the workplace, and they get paid less. Like their pay wages are way lower than men. And I feel like society in America, at least, America was built on men. So it was built around men. So when they broke away from British rule, it was men who were starting the government. It was men who had all these jobs, and they were the people to bring food home and like provide housing, and where the woman's role was to stay home and take care of the children, cook, clean, all of that. But once society started to change, and I feel like this happens, like society is changing, you have to kind of change with society. So once society started to change, it's like women started to get into the workforce, but then we get paid less, because I feel as if when we go off and have children, we have to have like 6 weeks off, or I'm not sure how long it is, but and men don't understand. I feel like men don't I can't speak for all men, but I feel like men don't understand that it's hard. It's hard for the woman to give birth, and it takes two to tango, So it's kind of like society has placed women lower than men in that hierarchy that I was talking about earlier. But when it comes to like, for instance, when it came to the George Floyd cases, I know this is like super deep, but Derek Chauvin, I'm not really sure how to say his name. I apologize if I said it wrong. It took a while for his trial to happen and things like that. But later on, we found out that a woman who claimed that she accidentally took out the wrong weapon, who was a police, she was sacked like that. And it's like, when you look at society, you see that a lot. Women are not appreciated, I would say, as much as men. And it's like, and I think it starts in our own community. I feel like women don't uplift each other anymore. I feel like women always kind of want to see each other like fail. But so I feel like it starts with your community. So I feel like we don't have the advantage because we're broken. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to say we're broken, but I'm going to say we're like, our bond as women, it's not how it should be. So we're hurting ourselves when it comes to society to stand up to those men who think they're superior. I don't know. But that's
all right. So with what y'all got, I got my 3 questions in my mind. So third one, and then third one is more of a you thing. Then the 4th and 5th one, we'll see how that goes. The third one, let's journey into the career path that we were trying to take. Now, let's just. I think I know what most of y'all want to do because y'all told me, but I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna mess it up. So, y'all gonna. I'm gonna ask y'all this. How I want to word this? How do I want to word this? The thought process that a woman has to go through when it comes to a career. As I've been talking to my mom and stuff, and my mom, my aunts, my grandma, how they all went through everything, is that first of all, at the time, generation. So my grandma was more of that's just how everything was. The woman was always in the house. She did not do that. So they're both my grandma and grandpa were working. So then my mom had to figure out a way to, as a child, do things herself, as also getting help from her parents as well. But the economy, the economics of what a woman makes and a man makes with your career, is that a fear that you might get paid less than a man just because you are a woman? Then we'll go into, as we put on top of that, enter your race as well. That because of your race and that you're a woman, now how much are you getting paid? So this I want. I'm gonna ask you, I want to say who go first, and then give me your what you want to be, the pay or thought pay, and the how the community is as like in the community is just as a woman, then as your race as a woman. Yeah, yes. All right, let's go with Casey.
Okay, so my job, I'll go dream job route, I guess, would be to be a performer and an actor, like musical theater. And pay wise, don't I think that often like leading men are paid more, but it's not really like a worry that I have at all because I mean, kind of with like, Christian, the job we want to do, it's like I'll take anything. Like
Yeah.
get me up there. But like I think with men versus women, it's with actually like doing the career itself, it's a lot easier for men to succeed in musical theater and like because even in like a high school setting, like you'll see in at like a lot of schools like directors have to like beg random guys that have never done a show in their life to like play the lead, and then there are like 50 girls who've done like 12 years of theater like kicking and screaming to get the main role. And so it's like there's definitely a difference there with like the competitiveness. And then racially, that's obviously not ever going to be an issue for me because I'm white. And so I've never had to worry about that at all, which I'm very grateful for. But it definitely is in theater. That's a huge problem. And it's a lot easier for white people to get like those big roles rather than minorities because like especially like budding like ingenue roles or something or like princess roles like that average kind of like leading female, it's definitely a lot easier being white to like get handed roles like that when you can kind of fit into like any show. So that's not something that I would have to worry about, and I hope that soon in the future with like more shows that are focused more on like minority casts, it will be better in that sense. So
Mckenna.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with what I want to do. I want to be a physical therapist, specializing in amputees. And I feel like for me as a Black woman, going back to that hierarchy, I would say there's men and then there's women. But when you divide those women, I would say white women are at the top of that list. And then it's between like Asian women. I don't know. Actually, I take that back. I don't know. But I would say like minorities, like Asian women, Black women, and Hispanic women are all kind of together. But they're far from, I would say, a white woman. And that's not, I feel like that's a touchy subject. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. But I do feel like in the place like how okay in my occupation, it just I feel like when it comes to society, that's going to be my issue. And I feel like when it comes to race, it really depends on where you work. So say I were to work somewhere in Texas, like rural Texas. Well, then I have the fear of, will I lose my job at any moment just because of the color of my skin? Am I easy let go because I'm a woman? So it really just depends on where you live and like who you're around. But like I said, for me, it would be more of me being compared to a man. So say I was here up at Wake Med working, and say they had to make cuts. I feel like I would be the first, one of the first to go, just no matter how hard I worked, just because, like, once again, I feel like the struggle is harder for a Black woman in society. I do feel like Black women are probably at the bottom of the pole, at the bottom of the hierarchy. And I feel like just being a woman by itself would be hard for me because that man most likely is getting paid more than me. And when you see a physical therapist, when you think of a physical therapist, you don't technically think of a woman. You think of more of like that's something sporty or like, because what goes under that is exercise science. When you think of exercise science and kinesiology, you're not thinking about women when you're going in majors and stuff like that. And when you apply to these all women colleges or institutions, their majors typically don't have kinesiology. Now, if you go to a public university or private university who are diverse or like have a mix between races, you're going to get that. Like, for example, Spelman University, it's an all women school, right? So they do mix with Morehouse and Clark. I believe that's what it's called. But when you go on the website and look at those majors, or even Meredith, when you go on those websites and look at majors, for Spelman, they were kind of broad. So if I wanted to go into kinesiology, I would have to go into like general health or like a health, So because when you take it to the side and you like kind of break them up, physical therapy is not going to be in there. Like kinesiology, exercise science is not going to be in there. It's not. Society tells women what women should do and what they can be, kind of, when like men are able to do whatever they want. So I do feel like, for me personally, just to go back and close it in, that I would have to worry more about, depending on where I worked, I would have to worry more about being a woman than race.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Jennifer.
It's kind of hard to talk about because honestly, I don't know for sure what I want to do career-wise. I know that I really, really, really want to be an author. Like and I know my heart is like set on being an author. But it's also, I think about it, and it's like it's really hard industry to really thrive at, because if your books aren't successful, then that's like you're not gonna make a lot of money.
Right. So
adding being a woman on top of that is really scary as well, because if you're going into a tough industry where it doesn't get a lot of pay if you're not as successful, it's scary. And I just literally just lost my train of thought. Okay. And being Asian American compared to maybe like a white woman, I feel like, again, is kind of scary, because you never know if they're choosing you based on like if your writing is good or not, or do they just have like a bias against you, like if they're good, whether or not they're going to choose you because like they don't choose you because they just don't like what they see, which is an Asian American standing in front of them compared to a white woman, and they choose the white woman because they don't like you because of your race and ethnicity. So that's a very scary thought when going into career. But yeah, that's like kind of my opinion
Okay.
and like being out there wise. And sorry, I keep on touching my face because I'm trying to fix like my nose ring.
It's okay. Addy.
So what I want to do along the lines of Casey and Christian, I want to be a professional dancer. So in that field, being a woman, rarely think about that part. Honestly, like for every 100 women, you're gonna see like one man. So I'd say it's definitely easier for a man in those fields, literally just in the sense that like they can walk into an audition and they're probably only gonna have like 3, 4, 5 other like people that are competition, I guess. I guess if this is coming like just for a male role and not necessarily just like a part in a company. So it's gonna be easier for them to get that parts, and they don't necessarily have to be as talented to get those parts just because like it's so not rare, but you know, there's a lot less men in the arts in general. But I think about being a Black woman all the time just because like ever since like my whole dance life, my years of dancing, like I've gotten so accustomed to being like the only Black dancer in a room full of white dancers, or the only Black dancer at an audition, or the only Black dancer in a classroom or in a competition. So like it's I won't say it phases me anymore. Like I've kind of become desensitized to that. Wow, why is there nobody in here that also looks like me type thing? But luckily, I don't want to go into the ballet field. That would be very, very tiring because there's like very rare to see Black ballet dancers. And also when it comes to like classical ballets, like it's very rare for you to see Black leads just because like all the classical ballets are based off of white people. So like, you know, they're rarely going to see them casting Black women or men. And also just the fact that a lot of the times Black women's bodies aren't seen as the perfect ballet body because they might have a bigger chest than some of their white counterparts, or a bigger butt than some of their white counterparts, or their hair isn't straight and can be put up in a little bun like their white counterparts. So I think all of that it's very detrimental to like I guess the way that you view yourself as a dancer, and you view yourself as less because like that's what people tell you are and make you feel like you're less. But definitely I want to go into more modern contemporary. So in that field it's a little bit easier. Still very low number of Black dancers, but there's all Black companies. And like the company, my dream company would be Alvin Ailey, and that's a historically Black company. So I'd say it's a little bit easier to be Black in the modern and contemporary field just because it's more, I feel like there's more support for Black people and Black women in that field. So, yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. So then my fourth question, and I want to y'all just to shout out, agree or disagree for this one. Just shout it out. All right, just shout it out. Being a feminist means anti-men.
Disagree.
Disagree.
Okay, good. All right. Then let's dive into that. The word feminist somebody give me the word definition of feminist.
Wanting equal rights for men and women.
All right. Why do you think that seems like a detrimental thing for some men?
I feel like okay. I feel like they feel like that's competition. I feel like they feel like we're challenging their masculinity. I feel like they think that if women come together and fight for our rights and we're equal, that one day women will surpass them. That's how I feel. And I feel like just because women uplift each other, just because we fight for what's right, doesn't mean that we're against men.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like it all goes back to society and what it was built on. And I feel like, men are scared that we're going to eventually pass them in the race for like anything.
Do you think it's time for women to surpass men?
I think it's time. I feel like when America was created, like, women, come on, let's go. You know, do what you do. You know, show these men who's boss. You know, so yeah.
Okay. All right. So upon that, oh no, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. And Jennifer.
Oh, I think Jennifer raised her hand. She can go.
A lot of men just don't want to see women succeed and thrive because they're, like what Mckenna said, they're scared that they're going to surpass them, and they're like they're going to feel like less of a man if they see a woman doing better than them, or being paid more and being better at their job. Like, for example, I don't know, maybe an athlete.
Okay.
If, let's say, a woman is doing a lot better or getting a lot more praise about the way they're doing the sport, that man is going to feel bad, and so they I shouldn't have chosen because I'm not an athlete, but like but they just don't want to see women succeed or like be successful because it scares them and it makes them feel little, when in the end I feel like they should be happy for women, you know.
Yeah, going off of what Jennifer said, like using that athlete like analogy, it's like, okay, if the woman athlete is like getting more praise for the way that they play their sport, like a man will be like, dang, like I'm not as good as a woman type thing. But if it's another like male counterpart, like player maybe from another team or something, and they're getting praised, like they're gonna be like, oh, I have respect for that dude, like he's good at what he does, like he trains, like they feel, it's like they're scared of feeling inferior to a woman because like they shouldn't feel that way. And like the basis of the question, like I feel like you see that everywhere for any kind of like campaign or like movement, whatever you're supporting a person on the opposition or the other end of the spectrum is always going to feel like you're anti them when you're really not. You're just supporting whatever you're doing. Like you're trying to support an area that you care about or an area that you know that needs help. You're not trying to defy or be anti whatever the other area is, like it. And I feel like that's what causes like so many of these I mean political parties, you see it, like it just causes so much, like I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, but yeah just because it's like, no, I don't hate you or I'm not anti you, I'm just pro me, you know. Like if I walk around with a sign that says pro Addy, it doesn't mean I'm saying I hate you, Christian. It just means like I'm supporting myself because I want to, you know. And I don't know why people don't just think of it that way, but I don't know, people are stupid and they think those things, so just the way it turns out. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Going off of what Addy said, I think that's like a really good point. Like being pro yourself doesn't mean you're anti someone else. And that's like one of my pet peeves is when people, including women, try and say that like being a feminist is thinking women are better than men, because that's not the case at all. It's just wanting to have an equal playing field. And I don't ever think, I would never say that like I want women to surpass men, because I don't think it's a surpassing thing. If you're on an equal playing field and women become more successful, that's not a like, oh, we surpassed them, like we're like ruling over them. It's just like we're all people, and one gender happens to be more successful. Like, and so I don't think it's like, and I think in a lot of cases, the people who are anti-feminist or who don't believe in feminism, which I think it's a really weird that there's a stigma around men being feminists because it's just wanting equal rights for both. I think it kind of ties into that. A lot of guys specifically from like childhood have been taught like they want like the American dream of like providing for their family and having a housewife. And I think that's also a main reason why a lot of girls are not feminists, or which apparently don't want equal rights. I can't comprehend that, but okay. Because they're taught to think that like men should have this like natural power over women. And like, I think the biggest issue is just actually defining what feminism is, because the definition has been like so twisted and turned around. And I think like one person could be like, I'm a feminist and I think women are better than men. And then like this other guy will take that and like label all feminists as that, when that's not the like entire ideology. That's just like one person says that and they take it and run with it and like start saying that all feminists think they're better than men. And I think that's where it gets like really harmful and makes it seem like such a crazy thing to be a feminist. So
Okay. All right. Oh yeah, Jennifer, go ahead.
Real quick, I just wanted to add, like, it's also the environment. Like, when they're younger, a lot of maybe their friends will be like, oh, you're gonna let a girl do that better than you, or you're gonna let a woman do that better than you, or like even like, oh, you throw like a girl. So when they see a woman being stronger or better than them at it, like they think like that. They think, oh, I'm gonna let a girl do better than me. So they let that negativity take over, and yeah.
Okay. So let's get to the fifth question. And then I think there's actually six. But the fifth, hopefully last. Well, gonna be last, except for this one. All right. So we have always, well, the word, honestly, it's not a word because it's two words. Toxic masculinity. Now, we know what it is. Seen it multiple times. Experienced it. Ignored it, tried to ignore it, confront it, but it doesn't seem to go away. But is there a thing that we haven't really confronted also? Toxic femininity. And that the ways of some, how women treat other women as well, or maybe how women treat men, can have a dogmatic effect on each other.
big words.
I feel like I literally saw something about. I feel like I saw something on TikTok about this literally today.
Go ahead, Jennifer. You start the question up.
So sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, it was like this TikTok on. I can't specifically remember at the top of my head, but it was about body hair and like just keeping it natural and let it grow out, which I'm all for. Like it's like I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I haven't shaved my legs in a long time, and I'm okay with that. And then there was like the other part where, but then women will make fun of other women who don't let it grow out, or like they'll shame them for shaving it. So I feel like as a feminist, you shouldn't like judge someone for it, whether or not they do shave, let it grow out, or shave it all off. I feel like let women do what they want to do. Did that make sense? I hope it did.
Yeah, Mckenna.
Okay, so I feel like this isn't all women, but I feel like it's kind of like where we judge each other, and it just is what it is. Women judge each other. They judge men too, but we judge each other mostly. And I'm sad to say it, but it's mostly in the Black community where it's like, oh, she has this, or she thinks she's all that because she's able to afford this or that. And I feel like women can be just as toxic as men. Like women would rather succeed on their own than congratulate another woman for succeeding on something else or being able to do something else that person couldn't do. When it comes to like relationships and things, like I feel like our generation, it's kind of like, I don't know why, but they get so excited about toxicity. Like it's kind of like toxic relationships are the thing. Like what's going on, you know?
So, what is going on? I don't know.
On this girl.
Anyway, continue.
I feel like it's a trend now, and I feel like nobody is on their own wave. Everybody's somebody's a follower, and then everybody else is gonna hop on that wave, or like everybody's like a leader, or not a leader. Everybody's a follower, so somebody's gonna lead it, somebody's gonna follow. So when it comes to like women being toxic, we can be toxic towards each other. We can be toxic in a relationship, and people glorify it. That's the issue. So I don't think it's just a woman thing. I don't think it's just a man thing. I think it's a society thing and how it's changing. I feel like our generation, I think it's based on maturity too and ignorance. So I wouldn't say it's all women. I wouldn't say it's all men. It's just the ones who do glorify being toxic. Like that's the issue. And then from there, it just everything automatically is toxic to everybody. So I don't know.
Okay. Addy.
Trying to figure out what I want to say.
You have to think about it, just saying.
I had to listen to what other people say first.
Math with you.
I think, okay, toxic masculinity, like that's when men they feel that they are not able to step out of these like societal guidelines that define what being a man is. Like they're too afraid to do that because they feel like it'll strip them of their masculinity. If we use that same logic with the term like toxic femininity, I feel like it doesn't really necessarily fit, because I mean, yeah, there's definitely like women who are scared to like step out of those guidelines, but it's like when it comes to men, it's stuff like painting their nails and like wearing a dress and like doing like feminine things or whatever. Like at least most of the time it is, you know? Or like letting their girlfriend be dominant in situations and stuff like that, or like letting their girl like tell them what to do or give them advice, and they're like, no, I don't want my girl doing that, da, da, da. Like, but I feel like when it comes to women, it's like when it's switched, that's like how it's supposed to be. So or like how society makes it supposed to be. I don't know if that is making any sense, but it makes sense in my mind. So I'm just gonna keep talking. Okay. So like I also saw this thing on TikTok going kind of like what Jennifer was saying. It's like when men like step out of those guidelines, it's like putting things on, like not just existing. But for women, it's just literally existing, like growing out their body hair, or just wearing like whatever they want to wear, or not having to cross their legs when they sit. Like it's like just existing necessarily, and not even like putting things on. I mean, like I guess wearing pants, but like that's become a societal norm at this point. So it's like that's not really something that people have to like build up like I don't know, any kind of confidence to do. But I feel like we can't necessarily like maybe not the term toxic feminine. I think that's what is like I'm trying to wrap my head around, is like that specific term. Like, of course, like women can be terrible to each other and very judgmental and be like, oh, you're not doing this, that's very unladylike, or oh, your box braids look dirty today. Like Mckenna said, like it's really you see it a whole bunch in the Black community, like colorism, texturism. I forgot what the term is for that, but like I don't know. It's more so like women just kind of being catty to each other and just having this kind of like, I have to be better than you, or I hold you to this standard type thing, and not necessarily going against the grain of what society has put in place for women, because that is what we're trying to do. You know, like I think for men, it's like it's become a term because it's so, I guess, common or like looked down negatively upon, which it is for women too. But like when I think about it, when I just switch it without, you know, adding any kind of like situational differences to it, it's more so like feminism, like women existing and growing out their body hair, or women participating in manly sports, or women like doing all that stuff. It's more so like that movement and not a term.
Yeah.
What I said made sense, but yeah, that's all I have to say.
Casey.
I think that I think toxic femininity definitely exists, I guess. And I think it's more, I think the main problem with it is when you're looking at like toxic masculinity or some things that men will do, it's more like outwardly malicious. While like if a girl does something, it's kind of more like offhanded a lot of the time. And it's not like oh my gosh, she's being so terrible, because we're so like used to it. And it happens like in like kind of microaggressions, like constantly. And so I think it's a lot easier to kind of like pass by on. And I also think that a lot of time women are the one like exerting a lot more effort into like bringing down other women, or like telling women what to wear and what to do, more than even men are in a lot of cases, or when it comes to like judging women with like what they wear and what they're doing. And I also think another kind of issue, I mean, you guys all, I'm kind of trying to like be shorter. You guys kind of covered everything. I think another issue is like what I was talking about before with like one person can make feminists look like super polarized. And I think the main issue with that is when we start to kind of like look down upon traditionally feminine and masculine things. And like, because we don't need to, like, the whole point of kind of like feminism and like is like girls do whatever they want to do, you know, like in the sense of like clothing and like stuff like that. And I think it gets really harmful when in order to like uplift someone who's like wearing more masculine things, you're like bringing down someone who is sticking to like traditionally feminine things, even though they're not, like there's nothing harmful in that way, like kind of saying that like, oh, I'm so much better because I wear pants and she wears dresses, like something like that. And I think that's with like men too, like when we start like calling men like being cruel to them because they're like basic or like wearing basic guy stuff, I think that gets bad because it makes like them a lot more insecure and like defensive and a lot less open to like, it makes them like more venomous towards trying like the new or like feminine things. And so I think a problem is kind of like with toxic masculinity and femininity is kind of just trying to step out of the norms without like shaming people who like stay in the norms or like want like those better than the new stuff, I guess.
All right. Okay. All right. I think, all right. So I want to say thank you guys. And I'm about to give y'all something after I give the goals, and that's when we're in the remarks, and then we're just going to bounce out. All right. So the goal that I have for this one, I was trying to see how the vibe of this episode is going to go. And I'll say my goal is respect your women. Damn. Like, come on, like you wouldn't exist without them. Numero uno. That, I guess that's besides the point for some people, but that's not besides the point. That is the point. That's numero uno. And then number two is we're all humans, no matter what gender we are. So if you could really cut down that thought process that one gender needs to be better than the other one, then we will definitely be moving 10 steps forward in society just upon that. Now, there's other things to work on as well. But with that, knowing that the gender norms that's happening, or like saying that one gender is better than the other, if you erase that from your mind and say that we're all human and that some people just benefit from others because of what they've been trained or talented more or worked more on doing, then we could be 10 steps forward. 10 steps. We could be a whole different society just upon that. Now, with the title, and then we're going to end. You just need to give me a celebrity, a well known person that you have looked up to that really represents the intuition of a woman. Think about it. Think. I'll go first. And then everybody goes. Now, if you know me, I want to say somebody that sounds very, stereotypical for me. Her name is Zendaya. So,
Who would have guessed?
No way.
Zendaya. It's Zendaya.
No way.
Zendaya or SZA. Those two, I feel, are what I've seen, and there's more, but like I gave two except for one, that really represents the intuition of a woman. They've definitely expressed their femininity in every way possible and expressed the inequality that's happening in the world. And both of them are colored as well, so they express the inequality of being a colored woman as well. And I've learned so much from them and love them as well. But that's besides the point. And let's continue on. I'll go order wise. So Casey, go.
Okay, I'm gonna say two as well because I can't choose between them. They're my icons, Emma Watson and Taylor Swift, both amazing.
How did I know?
Okay. They're both like amazing feminists and super like involved with like feminism and like speaking out about that stuff. And I think they do a really good job, specifically like with Taylor Swift. We got to like see, I say we, like if you're like a fan of Taylor Swift, you got to kind of see her transition into more of a feminist because like, and kind of get rid of her like internalized misogyny. Like you can see a lot of it in her earlier stuff. And so I just look up to both of them a lot because I think they're pretty awesome examples of like being able to be feminine and still like want other people to have like be able to do whatever they want. So yeah.
Mckenna, y'all can give two. Go ahead, think of two.
I would probably give Beyonce. I know it's so like such a basic answer, but I would give Beyonce because she not only cares about women, tries to uplift women. Like her earlier songs were like girls, like stuff like that. But she also, I think she brings light to a lot of society's issues with her music and with her actions. And my second person, I didn't know we were gonna do a second person. I'm gonna have to say, okay, hold on. I was gonna probably say Zendaya, but you already said it, so I don't want to be like a copycat. But I'm gonna say Zendaya.
We know it's so true.
I just feel like they really like stand up for issues like in society, but also for like women. So I would say those two women, and they're women of color. So
Addy.
Only one. Angela Davis. She was a political activist. She was a woman of color. She's an author. She stood up for literally everything good in the world. And I mean, she's just amazing. Bro, I don't know. I can't think of a second person. I don't want to be a copycat too, but I was also thinking of SZA, but then you said SZA, so I changed my person. But I guess my second person would be SZA, just because she's just everything, everything in the world. So yeah.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
I love you, SZA and Zendaya. Call me, Jennifer.
I can't think of like two people, but like the first person that popped in my head was important subjects or topics. Sorry, yeah, topics. And I just love her content. Like recent, like I just love like all the things she's talked about. I think they're all so important. And also, I just want to mention that I love everyone that you guys just said, like Taylor Swift, Beyonce, like like they're all so great at talking about important subjects or topics. Subjects, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for that last remarks as well. And I'm excited and I can't wait to see y'all for IDK, men versus women, coming in 4 weeks. So y'all have a while, but y'all don't have a while for recording. But that's the point. So our next episode, I like that. That's the point. That's gonna be a T-shirt now. That's with my face on it. That's trademark. Okay, but the next episode is the intellect of a man, and this is going to be the men's perspective of everything as men, all that stuff, and then we combine with at the words the last special with the men and the women, and that's where we go, and that's gonna be a whole good topic. And I'm thinking, and y'all tell me, my guests and people that are listening, should it be live? Because that we could do that and have audience actually ask everybody questions and make it like that. Put DM me at IDK with Christian or email me at idkwithchristian@gmail.com. If you want it to be live, it'll be a YouTube live and it will go out at a strategic time, and that's how it go for the second one. Now, also these peoples right here will also be on my last episode. I'm telling y'all right now. Last episode, IDK, what the heck are we doing? We'll recap the whole season, and it's gonna be a live special with different times, and we'll get to that later. And it's gonna be such an exciting thing. Yes. Okay, so have a nice day. Thank you. And anybody wants to give their Instagram tag, you can right now.
At Casey_M_W.
Just scream it out.
At Mckenna Kaelyn.
Okay. And
At Addy Harris .13.
Okay. Come on. It's okay.
At JJENNIIFERTRAN.
Okay. Thank you guys. And we are under an hour, so bye.